Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning into Dr. Homebrew. It's the cider show, folks, something that I've prayed for years, and I don't think we've ever really done it, where we have all cider all the time. Hot cider action. Well, it's not hot, but it's,
hello.
Steamy. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But we have all ciders made by one home brewer, one dude, Bill. Bill, welcome to Dr. Homebrew, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. You sent a truck ton of cider. I think that's the technical term for it.
It's metric, though. I don't know the conversion.
Yeah, well, we can't really know for sure. I don't have a cider kiss. That's like an abacus. What do we have? We have like five. Was it five, Bill? How many did you send? How many different types of cider?
I sent 4 New World ciders, and one of the things I really wanted to see is you guys tell me which one's the best out of them.
Okay.
Because one of the problems, I do a lot of homebrew competitions, but what you can't do is submit a lot of times the same category. And get so I only can submit one thing. So I want to know which one of mine is better, out of it. So that was kind of the idea. And the New World cider is a very basic thing. So it's really just about me changing small things in the process.
I love this. I love the fine tuning. We're gonna help you fine tune it. And we don't know shit about cider. So Hirendu, you're back. Welcome back, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
Yay!
Thank God you're here.
You're gonna guide us. You're gonna take us by the hand. You're gonna light the torch. And guide us through the tunnel that is cider. Sort of like a Lord of the Rings kind of a thing.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, where's your Cider Judge pin, Hirendu? You're not wearing it right now.
I'm not wearing any of my pins today.
Oh, no.
He's going to be our guide on the jungle cruise of cider.
That's right. But,
hopefully
this one will be more entertaining.
I made Mead Judge thanks in part to Hirendu and his wonderful class. But I'm waiting for him to do another cider class so I can get in that side of things too. So, or maybe take... if Dave Teckham offers that or somebody, but yeah.
Cooper, you just really like working for free.
Yeah,
you're
fun.
you're broadening your CV so you can do more work than not get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, I've done meads for a long time, but early in my judging career, I almost didn't want to take the mead judge exam because I didn't want to get stuck because there were so few mead judges for a long time. I didn't want to get stuck judging mead at every competition I went to. Yeah. So I intentionally I told Dave Teckham, oh yeah, I'll take your exam. And then I didn't do it. Didn't study it. I'll do your exam, David. And then Hirendu comes up. He's like, you're taking this exam, Brian.
But doesn't everyone just want to judge meads all the time? I mean, that's like, Even people who are not mead judges, they always say, I want to judge mead. I want to judge mead.
They are nice to judge. And yeah, I got to judge a Best of Show at NHC one time, and that was a blast. Did that with Dennis Mitchell, and I pretty well. I mean, I did know meads, and I felt confident working with him, and that we did the entrance right there. But yeah, it is fun judging meads for sure.
Yeah, I guess.
Now
I don't know. I mean, you got like, how many meads do you have in a flight typically? I don't know why we're talking about meads. It's a cider show, but since we're here, let's just do it.
Well, you should know that Bill also does awesome meads. So
okay, well then it's relevant. All right, I love stumbling into relevancy.
He just won some medals at Mayfair, right? With your meads, Bill. Congratulations.
Yeah, I won a couple ciders and mead medals at Mayfair.
Nice job, Bill.
Well done.
Good work, man. Good work. Well, look, let's jump into cider making. But before we do, of course, we want to thank our sponsor of this show, 5 Star Chemicals. You can go to 5starchemicals.com right now and learn about the best way to clean and sanitize your homebrewing equipment, which is using 5 Star Chemicals. PBW, Star San, got the Sandy Clean if you want. Got a whole bunch of products on the market to look forward to using in your brewery. And if you want a discount on PBW, or if you want to test out products from 5 Star before they're even on the market, join the 5 Star Homebrew Club program. It's a brand new thing they got going on. They got a Homebrew Club program. It's easy and it's free. Join the 5 Star Homebrew Club program now at 5starchemicals.com. You sign up, you get a little email every now and then you get a little discount here and there. They float you a couple things. Hey, try this out, try this out, try this out. You give them feedback. It's a win-win.
think I need to get our officership to sign up for that. I mentioned it a long time ago, and then I don't think we ever did it. But
I think you should.
It does sound like a good thing.
Yeah, they
text our president right now.
Monthly educational seminars, free stuff, whole bunch of stuff. So check it out. 5-Star Chemicals. Thank you, 5-Star, for supporting this show. I appreciate it. All right, Bill. You look like, I'm looking at your Zoom background, you look like you have a couple small fermenters behind you. What? Where are you? Are you a professional brewer, or are you just like taking over a tap room?
Oh, this is one of those just blurry Zoom backgrounds I have in here. Mainly so you don't see how messy my office really is.
Dude, it's at the proper scale where you could just be at a brewery and then you just blurted out the actual background. So, okay.
Yeah, and no, JP, that's not an actual tree behind me either. So just
well, you're at the wrong angle, Cooper. That's what I'm saying.
Unless you're in Australia and it's fall there.
Yeah, you're at the wrong angle. Bill's at the right angle. All right, Bill. Well, how long have you been making cider, man?
I've been making ciders for about 10 years, but mainly I've always considered myself a brewer. Started doing ciders and meads because my wife doesn't like beer. So, and occasionally I would, make a couple for her, but still made a lot of beer. When I did competitions, I would submit to our local competition, and normally I would do well with the ciders and meads because they age better. Typically, I just submit the beer I had, which was 2 months old, and never really did very good at it. With COVID, I started doing a lot more meads and ciders because no one was coming over drinking my beer, and started doing a lot more experimenting with it, and just really enjoying the process of doing it. And last year, I went heavy into the homebrewing competition circuits, and this year again, just trying to perfect the recipes and just trying different things.
Okay, so you're one of the people who, like me, who took up a new hobby, a new skill in the lockdown and the COVID, and you're turning it to basically just making more alcohol, which I appreciate. I went to like making bread, but you're on the alcohol path, and I appreciate that.
And if the beard is a COVID project as well too. You got me beat. I was clean shaven before the pandemic myself, but well, I guess I trim it too much. But
the wife signed off on it, so that was the important part.
Yeah, same here.
That's the thing.
If the wife signs off, you're good.
Well, yeah, and you have to because she's the one who looks at you. That's what I tell my wife. I'm like, if you don't like my face or if my beard's too long, or just tell me. She goes, well, I don't care. You like it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't look at myself. You have to look at me.
Well, I'm also a big guy, and it hides my 5 chins.
Ah, see, smart.
It's not necessarily that bad. But.
Well, look, man, pandemic has hurt us in different ways. You know what I mean? Okay, so you were saying that you have done a New World cider. Let's talk about what New World cider is, if you wouldn't mind schooling us a little bit.
A New World is just the more modern version of the cider that you get at stores. It's just very basic cider. It's nothing special, no extra flavors. Juice, yeast, maybe a little additional sugar in it, and that's it.
Simple, easy, also complicated.
I think the main thing that New World cider is supposed to be categorized as is more or less the New World is the American apples, more or less, not so tannic, not so sharp as English and French and other ciders, Spanish and others. So, yeah, it's also varietal with respect to more or less apples that you would find in America, kind of in the New World.
Hence, New World cider.
Right.
Okay, I love it. Hirendu, how long have you been judging ciders?
Maybe 3 years. I mean,
Okay.
I think I got BJCP cider program literally kind of just got started maybe two or 3 years ago. I took the exam at the first chance I got, which was just before COVID hit, I think 2020 Feb. So officially I'm judging cider since 2 years only. But
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And you have some of Bill's ciders.
Yes, I have one bottle each of all 4.
Hell yeah. Well, let's crack one open. Which one should we start with? A?
I'm already on A.
With A, yeah.
A, okay.
A.
So, Cooper, let's go. Let's start with you, man.
All right, let me crack this cider and pour a little bit for myself here. So the carbonation level in all of these was declared as petulant, and the sweetness level is medium. So a little different from the mead categories, where you have a medium would be a semi-sweet. The sweetness can be declared as dry, semi-dry, medium, semi-sweet, or sweet. So you can go all over the place with these things, and
Look how clear that is.
pick a level that works for you. So
Look at that. You can see my face right through it.
okay. And this cider, it's a nice medium gold color with a brilliant clarity. Pours a medium white head that rises up upon pouring and diminishes very quickly after, as expected. I don't know. You're not really supposed to come in on head retention or anything like that. It doesn't really have that, but it's a cider. So I do see many little pinpoint bubbles rising throughout. So it does look like it is petulant as declared. I kind of had to give it full points for appearance. It's a really, really pretty cider. Bouquet aroma, just a light, clean apple aroma with a very clean fermentation profile. No off aromas, just lightly fruity apple pear type esters, pleasant and inviting. There's no oakiness or harshness in the nose. Just a good level of apple, kind of medium low, and not getting a whole lot else, but it smells fresh and clean. Getting into the flavor, pleasing, lightly sweet apple up front. The acidity level seems medium low, and it's not fighting with the fruit, rather just accenting it. It is somewhat persistent, but I like that. I would say medium sweetness is right for this. It does taste medium, lingers on the tongue for a bit and then recedes, but not to dry. It has a lingering clean apple, faint tannins, and yes, a light petulance to it to drive a little bit of those flavors, but not crazy.
It's not petulance.
Woo! Yeah.
Okay. I've always said petulant.
Petulant.
Yeah, and I don't think that's it. I think I was wrong. I think I've been wrong before.
Well, there's petulance, like a petulant child. Who,
right. Right.
We might have one of those around here.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. I think that's a different word with a different spelling with a U in it or something. But
that's right.
Anyway, light petulance drives a little bit of flavor there. The alcohol seems medium low. It's not really sharp or harsh at all. It's just really smooth, medium bodied and nice. I gave it 8 out of 10 for flavor. And anyway, so going on to overall impression, obviously very cleanly fermented New World cider, pleasant balance of the various elements and no discernible flaws. As I continue to sip, I feel like I get just a touch more alcohol, like maybe a light bit of warming in the lower throat as it kind of warms up, but still pleasant and keeps me wanting another sip. I just like the way the fresh apple quality, plays off the other elements there. It's quite fresh smelling and tasting. I really wouldn't change the apple blend here. I like the kind of rich color of this one. So I landed at a 41 on this one. I think it's excellent New World cider.
All right, very good. Brian Shar, we'll go you, and then Hirendu will come back, clean up, and tell you guys why you're both wrong.
Yeah, that's kind of a good judging sandwich there, because you have
I think so too.
Like Brian and Hirendu know some stuff about stuff, and I don't know shit. So that just kind of lets you get my nonsense out of the way before we get on to some real stuff.
Sure.
So, Bill, you've probably heard the show once or twice. I have to ask you, are you in a homebrew or a home cider club?
Yeah, so I'm part of 2 homebrew clubs here in the Atlanta area, and I actually recently started a mead and cider club outside of that, which pulls members from both those clubs in, but also gets people who are not into the beer scene as much. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to try more meads. I wanted to try more ciders from people, and I just had to start a group doing that.
So that's really just your secret plan, to have people bring you mead and cider. That's a good plan.
That's our plan.
So this is your time to plug your mead and cider club. What's it called, and how would people find out about it?
It's Mead and Ciders, Makers and Tasters, and it's North Georgia area is what it's called. It's a Facebook group.
Nice.
Yeah. And what's that called again? Mead and Cider.
mead and cider makers and tasters. So okay. I even, even if people aren't making it, I want people who are interested in it. They'll buy commercial stuff, bring it too, which is good. If they travel, it's great. I get some other meads I haven't had before. So, and we've been real lucky. Peach State was here, and I got someone brought all the leftover meads from Peach State and ciders from there, and also I got a whole bunch of from Domer's Cup from Savannah for meads and things too.
Wow.
So, we've been going through those as a group and just learning about it, and some wonderful ones in there, some where I've competed in, and I'm like, well, how did this one not beat me on things, And I'm also in the process of setting up a homebrew competition here in North Georgia. It's not going to do meads and ciders our first run because we're trying to keep it simple. Yeah, so I'm organizing what's called the North Georgia Homebrew Competition, and we actually just started the signing up for judges today, and entry will start on July 1st, and it's just going to be category 1 to 26. We're trying to keep it simple,
cool.
Work out the kinks, and try to get more interest in getting more BJCP judges, because there's obviously I know in the Atlanta area there is, but even this last year watching homebrew competitions, we really need to try to get more people who are knowing their stuff, who are willing to judge, because I think there is a shortage in many areas.
You got a website for that comp?
Yeah, it's northgahomebrew.com.
Cool. Very good. You hear that, everybody? If you're in the area, sign up.
Yeah.
Or I guess if you're not, you just ship your entries. All right, Char, let's go.
All right. Because nothing's better than shipping something perishable to Georgia at the end of June. It's not going to get hot or anything on the way.
Hey, man.
That's not what the South is like in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of my youth in Tennessee, Bill. So that's kind of, I know that honestly, but that's just kind of the way it is. I liked this cider a lot. I don't know a lot about cider. So I may be a grandmaster beer judge, so at least I know the framework for kind of how to break a beverage down and deal with that. But even that's a little bit different on the cider score sheet, right? It's a different score sheet than the beer score sheet. So it takes a little bit of time for a novice to cider like myself to kind of figure that out. But it's straightforward. Appearance, I don't really have anything to add from what Brian had said. It did have that low petulant carbonation. It's visible to the eye and visible to eye and tongue. I hadn't been drinking before I wrote that, but I mean, I'm not sure if something's visible to my tongue. I mean, I'm not like a superhero or something, but even if I had a superpower, it wouldn't be tongue vision. So nonetheless, it's detectable with looking at it and tasting it. 6 out of 6. Aroma, I did the reading of the intro to cider judging on the BJCP website before this, so that I could try to at least attempt to do your cider some justice. And as it points out, low aroma is kind of okay for cider in general. It doesn't have to be, a hazy IPA or a sour beer where stuff's just leaping out of the glass into your nose. And that's what this cider is. It's low aroma. It's okay for style. I get low apple, kind of hints of maybe honey or a caramelized pie apple, like maybe after it's been baked, just a little bit of that. No off aromas. Thought it was very pleasant. 8 out of 10. Flavor, my initial impression was apple character and low sweetness. Medium low acidity is noticeable. There is a slight tannin / astringent to balance. Body is medium, no warming. Finish is fairly quick and fairly smooth. So nothing bad about it, and a lot of things that I thought were good about it. So 18 out of 24. Overall impression, I gave it a 7 out of 10 for a total of 39. Overall, I like this cider very much. I didn't notice off flavors or off aromas. It's very easy to drink, and it might be a little too easy to drink because by the time I finished all 4 of these, I didn't feel like I was tipsy. And then I stood up and I'm like, I think I should have some dinner now. I think I'm a little tipsy.
There you go.
So that's kind of that very sneaky warming that you don't realize it's warming. It maybe has a little too much body. That was my note. But upon going back and drinking this, I don't think that's the case. I ignore that. That was stupid. And and the finish goes away pretty quickly. But that's, again, fine for a cider. It's a 39. I'm going to end up drinking this whole bottle, probably, or most of this whole bottle. I think it's really great, and I'm looking forward to hearing what Hirendu has to say about it.
Yeah, same. Hirendu, go for it.
Okay, so I think this was quite interesting. Actually, you covered some of my points, Brian Shar, that is.
Okay. Are you serious? Really? I did?
Yeah, man. You did. So first of all, I kind of didn't get two bottles, so I had only one bottle. So
we lost Hirendu.
He's frozen.
We'll wait for him to come back.
We can take this out in post.
Sure.
Okay, he's back.
That would have been some of the best feedback I would have ever had.
He went mute.
Yeah, well, now he has time to think about it. So now he's going to change my. You start from the top, Hirendu. You froze right when you started talking.
I was telling that I kind of cheated because I had only one bottle, so I opened up all four bottles only 20 minutes before the show, 30 minutes, and tasted a little bit of each and wrote very short notes, so I don't have a complete score sheet like these guys have filled out. So my main comment was, this is actually a very good, again, appearance is awesome. I mean, the golden color clarity is very inviting to drink. Aroma is very nice. I got a little bit of apple skin in the aroma, mild spice. Very inviting, slight socks, but not. I scored this 35, by the way. So 30. So on a range, I would say 33 to 37 is what I will score this as. So the two things that Brian Shark covered. One, I got a little bit of honey flavor in the flavor part of it, and I got a medium plus body. That kind of slightly kind of made me think that this is and the petulant carbonation and sweetness that it has. I thought that this would have benefited a lot more from higher acidity to balance out that sweetness and like I said, somewhat almost artificial sweetness, honey-like sweetness that I get from it. Maybe I should ask you, I mean, is this back sweetened in any way?
Yeah, it is slightly back sweetened. And actually, I'll go more over all the recipes when we're finished with all four of them, because I'll tell you guys what the differences are.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
So yeah, my main comment would be that, slightly more acidity would help. Maybe even slightly more carbonation will bring that carbonic bite that will balance out the sweetness a little bit. But overall, it's very enjoyable drinking, easy drinking. Actually, all four of yours were very easy drinking and no major flaws. And appearance-wise, also, they're all pretty good. So you'll probably see a pattern in my comments. Again, it's a perception of one person kind of, and maybe not just perception, but also personal likes and preferences of one person, which could happen in any judging competition. So I'll kind of we'll talk about the others as we could get there.
All right, what did you score it, Hirendu?
I scored it at 35, but on a range I would give like 33, 37.
Okay.
So still, I think pretty close to the other two. I'm not very far off.
Yeah, for sure. What's the alcohol in this, Bill?
It's a little bit over 6.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know what? Just as my, obviously I don't really do notes, but I opened it and I took a sip while Cooper was talking, and I was like, "Damn, I kind of want, I don't want to drink all 4 bottles, but I think I might have to finish all 4 bottles." Like it's very, very easy drinking, very good, and as it opens up, a lot of what everyone was saying, it has a big body. It is sort of that like almost cooked honey. The apple skin, the apple aroma is very much present. Yeah, it's excellent. It's a great cider.
Like apple pie without all the spices.
Yeah,
maybe a little spice. But not.
Yeah, I was kind of starting to move the dial in that direction, and I'm glad to hear it was 6% because I didn't notice warming, and I thought, oh my God, am I physically broken, or is this a lower alcohol beer or a cider? And it was lower alcohol, so I appreciate that information. I would
be torn between like a 39 and a 40 on that. It's very good. I love ciders, and it's complex enough and it's meaty enough. There's enough body there to like, some ciders can be watery and thin and whatever. And that's, I think, what a lot of people think of when they think of ciders, especially commercial ciders. But this is like a more elevated, sink your teeth into it. Challenging. Like yeah, absolutely. It's great.
It's not a pedestrian cider, not your grandfather's cider.
That's right. All right, Cooper, let's do B.
Okay.
Cider B.
Cider B is the red cap.
Slightly different.
For those of you following along on Facebook.
Different color for sure. Interesting.
And it's another New World cider with the same declared attributes, petulant and medium sweetness. And this one, first bottle had a slightly high fill, but not too bad. It had a nice hiss upon opening. This one I didn't check the fill, but it seems fine. Appearance-wise, it's a pale yellow. I'm so used to putting my nose in this first. With ciders, you have to do the appearance first. Like, okay, it's a very pale yellow, extremely clear cider. Pours with a flourish of bubbles, crackling and fading soon after. A few very fine bubbles are rising through.
A flourish of bubbles, Brian?
Just a little whoosh, yeah. A flourish of bubbles, crackling, then fading soon after. It continues to have a few very fine bubbles rising through the glass, meets the petulant description, 6 out of 6 for appearance. In the nose, it's got a lightly appley quality. I'm kind of digging to get the character. It's a bit light overall to me. Very clean fermentation, though. The yeast profile, that kind of, it's just a clean yeast profile, not a super characterful yeast coming in. Still, it's maybe slightly duller in some ways, but it's still inviting and smells like something I'll want to drink that might be refreshing. Getting into the flavor. This one to me comes across as semi-dry in the finish. There's not a whole lot of sweetness here. It's a light, clean apple, like a tasty and not very challenging eating variety, just a red delicious or something. This is okay for the style. It doesn't have to be a super, it will tend to lean towards maybe less characterful apples than, of course, like we said, an English cider or a French cider. So that's okay for style. It's not really a negative comment. It's just kind of okay. You can use a different variety of apples, different blend in each cider you make. And, when you're making a New World cider, you can blend in something a little more interesting to give it a little bit of an edge if you want, to have it stand out in one way or another. But I'd be interested to know what the apple is in this one in particular, or apples. Alcohol is light, unassuming. I would say it's almost bordering on kind of watery, but not super watery. It's kind of a medium light finish. There is a faintly tart acidity with a low tannin to offer a bit of balance. If you went crazy with any of those, I think would throw this way off balance because there's not a whole lot else there. It's nice that it doesn't overpower the balance of that just light, faint apple note. So that stays and stays throughout pretty much. You still get apple in the aftertaste, nice little clean note. It's a light bodied and refreshing cider, but maybe a little bit muted to me. As it warms, you get a little more character out of it. Overall, it's a clean cider, leaning more toward the lighter and drier, slightly less acidic end of the style. It's amazingly light and delicate with no flaws. I mean, if you did have any flaws, they'd be standing out like a sore thumb in this one. But just not as much as hope to kind of keep my attention as well as I might like. Just a bit more sweetness could perk it up, and a little bit of acid increased. But don't go crazy with those because, again, the apple character is really, really light. You could kind of play with varieties and increase that a little bit. But, again, don't go too wild adjusting these things. It's pretty nice where it is. Could also use, even get away with a hint more alcohol there. I don't know if this one's lighter than the last one or not, but it might get you up to that kind of medium body that I would desire for the style here. Maybe, or declare it as a drier cider, do, semi-dry. It could be pushing a little bit towards the medium. It's, I don't know, it's hard to say, but, by the numbers, it might be medium, but To me, I'm perceiving it as a little lighter than that. So I did give it a 36 overall. I think it's a very high end to very good. Generally within the style you want, just a little, not really flaws or anything, but just kind of some balance issues or things you could do to maybe make it just a little bit better. So I hope that helps. And I'll move on to Brian Shar.
All right, Shar, let's do it.
All right. Yeah, I largely echo what Cooper said. Appearance for this one, very pale gold, almost straw, crystal clear. There's a noticeable, it's faded because I poured this like an hour ago and it's come up to room temperature or closer to room temperature. But there was a noticeable low head and noticeable carbonation that went, I think, to my mind, well beyond petulant. So I knocked off a point for that, gave it 5 out of 6. The aroma is really where I don't have anything to add to what Cooper said. It was very low in general, and I had a hard time getting much of anything out of it. I wondered for a second if I had COVID because I couldn't really smell much of anything. And thankfully then I smelled something and thought, oh God, no COVID for me. No, there's no off aromas. It's a low apple aroma. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Low is fine, and what was there was good. Flavor, my initial impression was low apple and then a little bit of lemon flavor, not tartness, but like a lemon, like a citrus flavor, but without the sour. There was some medium low acidity. Sweetness was in the background. I think the acidity is a little bit more toward the balance, a little bit more toward the acidity in this one. No warming, low body. The aftertaste I thought was a little sharp, but nothing off or bad. It just seemed it wasn't quite as smooth as the A cider. So I gave it 14 for flavor. Overall impression, 6 out of 10 for a total of 32, which is still very good. It's a very easy drinking cider that I enjoyed, but that lemon citrus kind of struck me as a little bit out of place, and I wanted just a little bit more in terms of aroma. So that was my 2 cents.
Okay, gotcha. I follow that. Hirendu, set the boy straight.
All right, and I hope my connection stays stable.
Me too, man.
So this is actually quite interesting. I kind of agree that, this, as far as appearance, it is, again, nice, clear, petulant bubbles, very inviting. It definitely is closer to the straw color, kind of, compared to the first one, which was more of a golden color. I did get aroma, by the way. Floral, slightly tannic aroma, even a light alcohol in the back. I got little spice, like cinnamon-like spice in the aroma, which was quite interesting. Flavor-wise, I thought this was a little more balanced than the previous one, given it has a little more tannic and a little more acidic notes to it. So again, like personal preferences, I kind of like the sweetness to be balanced by acidity somewhat, even in a novel cider. So exactly what Brian Shar said, like it was a little sharp, but for me it makes it more pleasant overall because it kind of takes that sweetness away a little bit. I got perfumey also in the flavor, which was interesting. I could still think that you could have slightly more acidic notes to it. Overall, all 4 of your ciders are on the sweet side with differing levels of acid tannin balance. I like this more than A, and I in fact probably I give a range of 36 to 42, but if I had to give a single number, I'll give it like 37, 38 on this. Again, I know you have declared all of these as petulant, and you have probably targeted them to be petulant, but I would think that it would benefit from more carbonation, and even make it sparkling level carbonation would, bring some life to it. I did notice that the body was lower than A. And again, to me, that ends up kind of being a plus point for a cider, as opposed to being higher body or syrupy kind of, which I don't like too much. And so I like the fact that this one was a little thinner in body. So again, I think this was, one of the higher scoring ones. So I think on that part, we are kind of apart with with Brian Shar with respect to this particular cider.
All right. Very good. And what did you score it?
I scored it at 37, or a range would be 36 to 42.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it is definitely a lighter body. Shar, I thought it was interesting you pulling those lemony, citrusy notes. I got that too.
Interesting.
A little zing to it.
Yeah, there's it's like a brightness, and it's like a brightness of the apple. It's very interesting. Yeah, I like it. It's very good. Since you wanted, Bill, just, it's a running tally of what I liked better. I like A better. It's a little more round. B for me is a little I don't say two-dimensional because that's kind of insulting. But it's not as the range of flavors isn't as wide. B is a little more focused. It's a more focused, little lighter bodied cider. But I'll tell you what, if I got either of those in a tasting room or a 4-pack or whatever, I'd be well chuffed. You know what? Let's take a break.
Is that good?
Yeah, I like them both. They're great. Let's take a quick break, everybody. And we're going to come right back, and we're going to do the other four. Gee, I wish the other 2 ciders from Bill. And talk a little bit
enough. You want me to send 6 next time? Is what I heard.
Yes, actually monthly.
How about 8?
Yeah, monthly, and then you're not going to be on every month, but
yeah,
we'll still give you the sheet.
Who's going to foot his UPS bill?
Yeah, it was not a cheap UPS bill.
No, I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. All right, everybody, hang on real fast. This is Dr. Homebrew. We'll be right back.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for sticking around, everybody. We're going to crack open cider letter C. C for cider.
This is the Black Cap cider.
Black Cap cider. All right, Shar. I mean, not Shar, Cooper. Might as well just keep going the same rotation, man. This is also new to us. I don't want to switch it up.
I like this order. I'll lead off with my foolishness, and you guys can set me straight here.
There you go.
Had a good fill level. Nice little hiss again here. I had the advantage of sitting down and judging all these last night. We kind of shared the second bottles. Brian graciously offered to. He's often judging the day of these things, and so but I like to judge them in advance. And I sat down with all these ciders last night and had a nice little session with them. So, and I did judge them in the same order. And sometimes judging order will affect things, but try not to let it color things too much, and didn't go too crazy with them like Shar did today and get too no. But I think by the end I was feeling a little light, like, oh, okay.
I only judged 4 ciders in an hour. That's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right. This one has a nice, good, solid yellow color, almost getting towards gold, rich yellow, gold, light gold. Again, brilliant clarity, absolutely beautiful. Pours with some bubbles rising at first, very few pinpoint bubbles rising slowly as it sits there. again, as I'm not seeing too much. It looks a little south of petulant, but I might not knock it down. I still gave it 6 points for appearance. There were definitely some pinpoint bubbles in there, but I had to take my glasses off to see them because I can't see shit without these progressive lenses are just, I'm still getting used to them.
The price of age, man.
Yeah. Getting old. It's fun.
Yeah, try it. You'll like it.
Try it. It's better than the alternative. Bouquet aroma, pleasant medium apple comes through up front with a very clean ferment profile apparent. Seems like it'll have a touch of sweetness and structure to it. There's no obvious alcohol or esteriness to it. It's not super fruity. Just clean apple, nice and inviting. Flavor wise, a bit of acidity hits me at first. Just kind of it's medium low. It's not really sharp alongside the apple. With the nice medium sweetness to it. Seems right there. Adds a bit of substance. Then again, this is not just an apple juice with alcohol here. It's really smooth. And I guess I'd say it's medium sweetness, but it does dry off a little bit, dry off the tongue, almost leaning slightly towards semi-dry, but I think it hits firmly in the medium sweet territory. But as it dries off the tongue, you get a little dryness, and then you want another sip. But the acidity kind of keeps it on your tongue too a little bit, I think, and the sweetness combining. The balance between those is really nice. So like the apple quality that just lingers on the tongue. It's just a nice, clean, fresh tasting apple again into the aftertaste. It's maybe a little lighter in body than say cider A. And I like it for that. It's there's a little faint tannin in there, no defects. Just kind of medium light bodied, real smooth drinking cider. Good balance of all those elements in there. Overall, it's very refreshing New World cider with enough to keep it pretty interesting. I guess it fell maybe a touch flat, and then it's just mostly just clean light apple and then a bit of acidity, and that's kind of all you get. It maybe needs a little more there. I don't know if bumping up the tannins just a touch might help it, but you don't want to make it too crazy bold and sharp there either. Or even maybe a touch more alcohol might do something, but just give it a little more of substance to it there. And it's close to rye. It could go touch fuller, I guess. But it's a nice job on the cider. Those are all really fine points, and I was trying to find out trying to think what I would do to balance it better. I still landed at a 39 on this. I thought it was excellent, kind of in the low end of excellent, and just a little rebalancing of that one. This could be a world-class New World cider. I think they're all really enjoyable and drinkable, and it's hard to be a fault finder in it, but mostly just finding little balance things that you could do to it. So I couldn't push it down into the very good 30 to 37 because there's just really no flaws at all. It's nice and easy drinking. So 39, I'll stick with that.
All right. Sure. You know what to do, buddy. Ask Bill if he's in a homebrew club again.
That's right. Bill, are you in a homebrew club? No, we're not going down that path. I like this cider. Appearance, 6 out of 6. It's light gold, crystal clear, low carbonation, right where it's supposed to be. Bouquet and aroma, a little bit like the previous one. I thought the overall aroma was very low. I got a low apple aroma, sort of a low wine-like character, but there's no off aromas. There's nothing bad about this at all. That's 7 out of 10 for the aroma. Flavor, initially the flavor is low apple, followed by medium acidity and medium low sweetness, almost a balance. The acidity is dominant through a long finish, but not dominant in the sense that it blocks everything else out. It's just, to me, it's balanced a little toward acidity. Low carbonation, low body, 16 out of 24. Overall impression, 6 for a total of 35. I really enjoyed this cider. It's balanced. When I say it's balanced toward acid, doesn't mean that it's ripping your face off like a Cantillon. It means if you're talking about, the needle is at 0 and it's going a little bit toward acid, that's where you're at. So it's the balance is a little toward acid. That's all I'm saying. There a little bit more complexity might be welcome, but again, I'm going to continue drinking this as Hirendu talks about it. So that means it's good enough for me to keep drinking. So it's pretty good.
Need some pH strips here.
It's not a bad idea.
All right. Hirendu.
For me, I think first with the appearance, again, beautiful appearance, a little more darker than the second one, but not as golden darker as the first one. On the aroma, I got a little bit of hay and earthiness kind of. And actually, I think neither of you got this. And I'm kind of also on the flavor and in aroma, but I get slight dank, almost like a ripe fruit, almost jackfruit kind of aroma. And then when I get into flavor, I get more of it kind of, maybe once I'm already biased with my aromatics. So I get like tropical fruity apricot, almost peach kind of flavor in that. I kind of noted that same as what Brian Shar was saying, that acidity is higher than both A and B, which is, again, for me personally, it's a nice thing. Tannins are very low, slightly flabby, but that is probably same as others, because I would probably prefer to have more acidity and more carbonation on this, though this one has more acidity than A and B, as I said. But for me, it is still a little bit on the sweeter side. I scored it at 35. And the main thing I would say is that I kind of feel that the flavor has a little bit of artificial fruitiness to it. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe Bill will tell us the secret, if there is. And then again, overall, I think that more carbonation and more acidity would probably help this a little more, but it is definitely more acidic than both the previous ones. Overall, I think it's all of your ciders are very enjoyable, drinkable, quaffable on any given day, on a hot summer day especially. So not to take anything away from that, just like nitpicking minor things to.
I recommend cider B for the hottest summer days. That would be the right one for that. Cider A is probably more of a spring cider. But this one, I definitely would increase the carbonation a little bit too. I agree with that, Hirendu. And I don't know. I would personally maybe back off the acidity a little bit and increase the carbonation, because that's going to increase the impression of acid. Just my impression.
Yeah, I think carbonic bite from CO2 does the same thing as fruit acidity.
What do you get, JP? You get that dank tropical? I didn't really get that.
You know what? I get like canned pineapple. That's the tropical that I get. And, canned, not in a bad way, but, sometimes canned pineapple is sort of, it's not, the acidity of the pineapple's gone and the sweetness of the pineapple sort of accentuated and sort of like a 1 or 2 dimensional flavor, right? That's the pineapple, that's the tropical that I get from that, in combination with the different apple.
I think that probably is more accurate than whatever I was trying to say. I think now that you said it, I kind of get that more.
Ding, 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 ding.
Hey, man, you're welcome. It's almost, I feel like I can like decide or see the color of the apple in my brain. For me, the meat of the apple for this one is like sometimes it's like a yellow skin. It's not like pure white. It's like a little, I don't know. Oh, Hirendu, did you give it a score?
Yeah, I did give it a 35, range of 33 to 37. Okay.
Yeah, you're close with Brian there. But we're not far off. In a competition, we'd be just fine, and we would sort this out.
I like this one a lot as well. But yeah, I think the guys are right. It needs a little fine-tune. It needs to just be elevated a little, clean up a little bit on the palate. It's a little sweet. It kind of hangs a little bit. But those darker apple flavors are on all your ciders. Maybe not B, because didn't really have those darker apple flavors, but a little bit. Your flavors for your apples are so round. There's a lot of focus there. I like that. It's very good. It's very hard to do. I've made cider one time, and it was a challenge. But all right, let's do the last one.
Oh, I like them round.
I like round apple.
Round apples are the best kind.
Cider D.
Okay, here we go. Green cap cider. Are we ready? Has a nice fill level. This one's a little higher, but that's okay. Nice hiss on opening. All these had a nice hiss, but then sometimes when you poured some of them, it's like it just goes whoosh and gone, and then like you see just tiny bubbles. Might need to get one of those glasses that has the etching in the bottom to enjoy these properly, so that it nucleates on those. Yeah. So again, that head just comes up, fades down, lightish yellow, and again brilliantly clear. Whatever you're using for fining on these, if anything, or just aging, I want to know so I can make a cider like this sometime. Carbonation level does appear petulant. It does have some little bubbles rising. Just pinpoint. Maybe should be a bit more. They're kind of stopping at times as well as it sat there. But 5 out of 6 for appearance. It's just the only one I did that to, just because like the bubbles stopped rising. I don't know. It's not petulant. Take a point off. Sorry. Bouquet aroma. And this one I'm getting kind of a bruised fruit quality, medium low, somewhat mealy apple expression, low but clean yeast expression, a little more characterful than some New World ciders. Just a touch white wine like in character, and I felt like I got a bit of a diacetyl in this one. Barely there, just slightly detectable, little light artificial butter. But I was kind of digging for some flavor, some aromas in this one to get at what it was. It's only faint, and it's not enough to offend anyone except maybe Doc, who has the most diacetyl sensitive nose I've ever met. But anyway, flavor wise, medium low apple with a semi-sweet finish and a slightly odd impression. Getting other fruit here a lot, like a faint banana-like coming in. Not rotten fruit, but like bruised fruit, bruised apple skin, apricot-like. There's some other stuff in here that's just some of the fruit expression. There's a lot more esters in here than the other ciders. The acidity is medium-low with a medium-low tannins to balance. A bit of that odd fruitiness just lingers into the aftertaste. Carbonation-wise, it's almost still, but it leaves a faint impression of some light little bubbliness. It doesn't even really off your tongue that much. You don't feel the bubbles kind of popping at all. It's just kind of there, but it's not dead. It's lightly petulant, I guess, almost still. Medium light body. So yeah, overall, it's a fairly clean drinking cider, just a bit less fresh tasting apple note, and therefore a bit less smoothly drinkable than hoped. Still seems like a well-crafted cider. I might, if I had to guess, I'd say you could have had some bruised fruit in there, or it could be a yeast character that's poking through some of these interesting esters that I'm getting. Try different yeast, maybe a bit less characterful, and or just kicks off a bit less of the odd fruit characters, and B, any diacetyl will clean that up as well. But I'm struggling with that. It's not screaming artificial butter to me. Now, when I tasted it last night, I felt like I got it. When I first tasted it and smelled it today, I felt like I got it just a tiny touch. But it's at that point where the apples and everything else is there, and there's a fair amount else that's there, are kind of covering it up. So
I see what you mean. It's like bubble. It's like a dolphin jumping in and out
like,
of the water. It's like there, sort of, and then splash. It's gone. Oh my God, there it is again. Look, it's breaching, and then it's down again.
There she is. Flipper. Hello. Oh wait, no, she's gone.
But I don't think that's really what it is. But I think there are a couple flavors there combining to present as that.
Yeah.
But it's so subtle.
It's what's called excitement. You should enjoy it.
Right.
Excitement. Yes. So yeah, it's clean, and it's a pretty cider. You definitely want to increase the carbonation level there. just a bit to give it bright more of that tingly kind of maybe sharper, going towards the more bright lemony side of things or the crisp, fresh apple side of things. These are all pretty fine points.
It's almost tastes like it's aged on like a wine barrel.
Yeah,
almost,
or like has a little something else getting loose in the fermentation, like more. I don't know. Hirendu can tell us more about the malolactic thing and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not expressing like tartly. It's more on the dull side and with a lot of interesting fruitiness to it. So again, fine points. I landed still in the kind of the middle point of very good character to me. I landed at a 34. I thought it was very drinkable still. And what I'm getting, I'm still struggling to get at it. Maybe these guys will ping it on the head like the other one. So I'll let Brian and Hirendu have their say here, and JP, of course.
I already did. Go, Shark. Go for it.
All right. So this is Cider D. Appearance, 6 out of 6. Color is light gold, crystal clear, very low carbonation. Bouquet and aroma. What's interesting is my notes are from about a couple hours ago, hour and a half ago. Low apple, low oak / vanilla, no off aromas, but I can't get the oak now. There's maybe a tiny bit of, there's maybe some vanilla, but it's not quite as prominent to me as it had been. And that's interesting because usually when you have a aroma like that, it gets more prominent as the beverage warms rather than less.
I could be talked into a little bit of oak here. Yeah. Could be talked into that.
It's still there. So 7 out of 10. Flavor, initially, the impression was low apple and medium low acidity with medium low sweetness that balances. My notes are medium to low tannin, is pleasant and adds complexity. I'm going back here. It's not, there's not quite as much as there was when it was colder, I think, but it's still there. No off flavors. The aftertaste is long and balanced, 19 out of 24. I really like this cider. I think it's complex and interesting. I scored it a 40. Kind of going back and thinking about cider A, I think that I might, if I were to go back from scratch, I might rejigger the scores a little bit and put A ahead of D, but I still like D quite a bit. So rather than second guess myself some more, probably Hirendu should talk.
Needs the tie break for us here, I think. Yeah.
No, we have to go through the whole thing because I think we are somewhat on a different end of the spectrum here. So anyway, going to cider D. Again, amazing appearance, clarity, color, carbonation. Even I poured a while back. I see persistence in head here a little bit. Nice sheeting and bubbles on the ring, kind of on the cup. Appearance is awesome. Going to the aromatics, I got a little bit of grassy, earthy, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what I got. It's not a negative thing.
Now that you say it, that's something I was tasting and I wasn't thinking about. Now that you say, I definitely get the grassy. Now that you said the word, and I'm like, aha.
Yeah, and when I poured it initially, I don't get it anymore right now, but I did get a little bit of sulfur up front, and which is very common in ciders, especially when you pour it. That might again be something that Brian Cooper was saying, like bruised fruit or something. It's just a little kind of weird aromatics that right now I don't get it anymore because I think it dissipates pretty quickly.
Like an H2S, hydrogen sulfide.
Yeah. And I do get oak. It's really a very smooth, honestly, probably one of the best, most balanced, and I'm sorry if I scored it lower. I do get floral notes in the aroma as well as in the flavor. I get slight minty notes, like very mild in the flavor, not in the aroma. I do not get the the diacetyl as much as Cooper is getting, but there is a little slickness to it. So I mean that could be it, but it's not offensive to me. I think it's not something that I would take points for. Very easy drinking. Maybe if anything that is negative about this would be that perfuminess and the flavor part of it, which is in a way kind of, could be balancing out the other stuff. So, and my score is 37. And again, my same comment would be more acidity and more carbonic bite would be nice to kind of make it, when you have that, it just livens up cider a lot. It makes it just alive, it just makes it refreshing, very easy, more drinkable than what it already is. So
yeah,
I know you call them all petulant, but why not make them sparkling?
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay. Wow. We did it. We went through. Bill,
Yeah.
let's go through the ciders. In case you didn't know by now, this is going to be a long show. But we'll wrap up soon. Don't worry, guys.
I'm going to pour all four of them into little cups, too. I got a
them
sample
all
set here.
Yeah, I got them all right here. Bill, take us through your ciders, please.
Well, before we do it, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. What was everyone's favorite, though?
I think mine was A.
Mine was A.
Let me run through it real fast.
Mine score notwithstanding, mine was A.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to be the contrarian, obviously with a different palate. So mine was a kind of a flip between B and D. Probably B.
Yeah. I can make a strong case for C also, but I think A for me was the most enjoyable.
So this cider is what I refer to as my Being There. Being There is actually a Peter Sellers movie. I name a lot of my things after some Peter Sellers stuff, so it's a great movie. And I do what I call the Being There variant. The variant is the juice is the same and all this stuff. The recipe is pretty much the same for all four of these things.
What? The juice is the same?
The juice is the same for all four of these things. The main difference on this, besides maybe I rushed some of the carbonation around the end of it, trying to get the stuff out to you guys. I think that's why 05 is not probably as high, or the D, which is actually US 05. It was actually not as carbonated, I think, because I thought as I drank through, I was like, yeah, it's not as carbonated as the rest of those. But so D is US 05. C is actually Lutra, done at a pseudo-lager temperature around 68, 70 degrees. B is actually Cote de Blanc, which is a wine yeast. And then A was a Horendal yeast. And actually, that one's also probably one of the oldest ones. That one I've had for a few months, and I just shot that off with everyone. The other three, the B, the C, and the D were all ones that were made a little bit in the last few months and stuff. So they're a little bit younger.
I like that C. It's very bright and assertive.
So let me understand this right. So you did not actually take the same juice and split it into 4 batches. This is 4 different juices with 4 different yeasts.
Yeah.
Though the fruits were the same, but it's still different juice.
Well, I'll even blow your mind more. This is all store-bought apple juice.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Don't
nice
tell me
to know.
Costco.
You can make really good cider with store-bought apple juice.
What kind of
Bill,
what
brand? Before I get too far from this, what was the yeast on A?
A was the Horendale. It's a Kveik yeast, also done at a lower temperature. So typically, I have a room in my house that just sits great at that 68 to 70 degree temperature, and so just doing that kind of pseudo lagering concept with it.
Well, that's like the first Kveik thing I've had that I liked.
Damn.
Cool.
Ruthless. What brand of apple juice did you? I mean, what is?
Mostly it's Aldi brand. Sometimes it's Kroger brand, but yeah, it's
really.
Yeah. Now there is a little difference between Aldi brand and Kroger brand, which could have made a slight difference. The citric, they have more vitamin C in the Kroger brand, which has, so that could add a little bit more acidity to it, but nothing that I've really normally have noticed.
I would never have known. That. Those yeasts and the way that you handle them really accentuated a lot of those flavors.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons I did is for me, I can make beer, I can make mead. Apple juice is a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And so if I want to experiment, and again, I'm doing these in 5-gallon batches, but I just, do it and I try it and I'm learning on it. And then, taking that experience, if I want to enhance it with spices or whether I want to do fruits and stuff, the yeast can make a difference. Like the 05, I'm doing something weird with it because I'm like, I like how that one just seems more mellow in a way where the Côte Blanc and the Lutra to me kept more of a little of the acidity, more of the clarity to it too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would like to still kind of point out, right? I mean, that even though it might be store-bought juice from the same...
And we lost him.
Oh, he's gone.
Justin, he was going to say, I was going to ask you, Bill, which one is your favorite? You don't have to listen to us, but what do you like?
Of course, I appreciate some of everything. But to me, I've always liked my Lutra one. This is actually my second batch of a Lutra one, which I served to you guys, but I've done one which was done pretty well. The Côte de Blanc I also like a lot. It kind of gives that more winey flavor to it. So it has a sharpness to it.
Lutra is C, right?
Is C, yes.
And Côte de Blanc is B.
Is B, yes.
Yeah.
I'm mixing C and D, and I really like it.
And so to give you guys,
Cooper's going to blend all of them together before we're done.
I already did last night, and I have tasting notes for it. And this is my compare and contrast sheet that I did at the end of the night last night.
Wow. Then I'll shut up and we can get to that.
Yeah, but that's okay.
To give you guys an idea, like the Côte de Blanc got a 39 at Colorado State Fair, got a 30, got a 39 at Mayfair.
Jeez.
Good. Let's see here. The 05 has only hit one competition, Hot and Humid, got a 38 there. Let's see. The Lutra one here has not actually gone anywhere yet. And of course, the Horendale has been all over the place in scores. All the way up back in February at a 42. A month later, got a 32.5. Normally stays in the 30s. Unfortunately, there was one that got a 29.5 on that one. But you never know what they've done with the bottles or anything else. So, that's the age makes a difference. To me, that Horendale one, I didn't think aged as well. So I was really surprised that you guys liked it as much as you did, that A one. Because to me, as it aged, it kind of, as I said, that one's one of the oldest ones of them, kind of had a weird flavor to it.
Hirendu, what were you going to say before you dropped out? You were about to drop some knowledge on us.
No, yeah, I was just going to say that, I mean, it's not quite accurate to say that these are same juice, because even though they were bought from the same store at different times, they could be different batches with different blends of apples and all that. So some of the differences, it's not all coming from yeast. It could be from the base juice itself, right?
True. Yeah, I mean, and again, there are 100% juice things, but you're right. There could be some variations to it. But, I know when I drink store-bought apple juice from the same store, bottle one typically tastes the same as bottle two does. I mean, there could be some different things in it.
Yeah.
And again, even then, there's still different things. Was I 2 degrees higher when I ferment it and stuff, than I did last time? Even though I have a room which is pretty good, it's not temperature controlled. But the yeast is, as I said, makes especially you got an ale yeast, you got a wine yeast, and you got 2 Kvike yeast ones here.
Yeah.
So the starting gravity and the finishing gravities were the same on all of them, or there was difference on that too?
They were very close. They might be off like by a 0.01 point or 0.02 point or something like that. So once I feel like the fermentation stopped at a lower percentage, I do it, and then I'll back sweeten. I back sweeten them all the exact same way.
And so, that's actually a question. How many points do you put back with back sweetening, and is it raw juice or what do you use?
I use raw juice. So typically I'll throw a little bit of extra white sugar in to get the alcohol up higher to make some of that number up. But yeah, unfortunately, my math is not the greatest. I know what my starting gravity is, my end gravity is, and then I throw some juice in there. And of course, that changes your ABV in there somewhat. But
sure. But flavor is what you're really gunning for. You're not really worried about the finishing gravity.
I mean, as long as is it a good thing? Or is it, do you get hot? Now with meads and stuff, I have a problem sometimes with heat and the fusels and stuff. If it drinks well, whether it's a 3% or a 4%, if it tastes well and balanced, I mean.
So back sweetening is after racking it off and stabilizing it, or do you
stabilize it and back sweeten?
What are you clarifying with?
Sparkaloid.
Yeah. Nice. And then how do you treat your yeast? I guess, do you have some are dry yeast, some are liquid yeast in this?
So the Kvike, of course, is to be liquid yeast. The wine and the ale yeast 05, of course, is dry yeast. That would make a difference too. With Kvike, I'm going to throw a lot more nutrients in there to get it going. I a lot of times upfront yeast nutrients to it all.
So are you doing starters or just throwing in a lot of dry yeast?
I just dry, I know a lot of people a lot of people say, hey, you need to do starters. Dry yeast today, the modern dry yeast, I don't think you need to do starters. That's my own personal opinion. I know other people disagree with it, but
do you hydrate it or use any Go Firm or anything like that in it, or no?
I just go good about yeast nutrients in it, and it starts going.
Cool.
Pectic enzymes. Do you use pectic enzymes for
not in this instance. I do use pectic enzyme for certain things, especially if I do fruit additions. Like if I was doing like a cherry something or something like that, I may use pectic enzymes to help pull that out. But yeah, in regards of just doing store-bought apple juice, no.
So I don't know. I don't know if you answered that, but how many gravity points do you add with back sweetening? Oh, you said you don't know.
I actually don't measure that part of it because at the end of the day, I don't care because it's not fermenting out, and it's not about the math. It's about perceived what you.
So you add a little, you taste it. You add a little, you taste it until you think it's good.
Yeah, and my process actually for this, it's the same because I got the math right for how I want. If I get down low enough, I throw it back in, and it works out pretty well. So yeah, I mean, I made a mistake before. We're trying to do the math. As I added back sweetness, what did it? What's the final graph? It's about perceived, because acidity and everything else it's about balance and that aspect of it. So
yeah.
Let's take a final break here. Hold on. I hate to break up the convo, but we need to take one more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up with Bill here. Hang on. Dr. Homebrew, don't go anywhere.
The leader in affordable, high-quality kegerators is here. Introducing Komos, the kegerator designed with serious beer drinkers in mind. It features an all-stainless steel draft tower, a major upgrade over traditional chrome-plated brass towers, and Komos keeps your new tower cold with their air-cooled tower fan, wrapping your beer lines in frigid coolness. Your beer is poured from innovative forward-sealing faucets that don't leak, so they stay cleaner for longer. Dual gas inlets on the rear of the fridge allow you to run both CO2 and nitrogen gas. Serve your beer with CO2, serve your kegged wine, or even cocktails with nitrogen. The digital temperature display has the largest range available, allowing you to use the Komos Kegerator for fermentation if you need to. And now Komos Kegerators ship with duo-tight draft fittings for that click-to-connect assembly we've all dreamed of. Buy direct from KomosDraft.com and receive free shipping on your order. That's KOMOS Draft.com.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Matthew Harold, he's watching us and he's drinking all the 4 ciders.
So, besides me being part of the, and actually, I'd love to actually talk about this part of this. I'm also part of what's referred to as the Master Homebrew program. It's a national group of competitive homebrewers where we've gamified the concept of competing in competitions and trying different styles and stuff. Matthew is the president of the Master Homebrew program, and I'm actually the vice president of Master Homebrew program.
Yeah, we had him on the show a few shows back. So listen back to that one, and I'm really interested in that Master Homebrewing program too. That sounds really cool, what he's doing. So I was going to ask you, Bill, you're tracked in this whole competitive homebrewing Facebook group thing and all of that. Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on the Glint Cap Best Show 3rd place. Behind me.
Okay.
Teach me, master. What did I do wrong?
I don't know. I didn't taste yours, so I don't know. I wasn't there judging.
I was just happy to score this year on it. It actually got 2 placements, and I had a Perry and a fruit cider that placed at the Glint Cap, and I'm just blown away.
Oh, wow. Okay. I only know about Perry because that was in the same category as me, but yeah.
Yeah, I also got second place. I got second place in the fruit ciders.
Nice.
You gotta love homebrew trash talk. I mean,
stand in line behind me, buddy, because I got second place and you got third.
Well, you know what? It's great because you know what? I love it. I mean, part of the Master Homebrew program, I love cheering along all these other guys and stuff too. It's like Peach State Brew Off. I'm at the actual award ceremony, and we have all these other people from Texas and stuff, and I'm clapping, and everyone's giving me a funny look at why the heck that guy clapped. That guy's an out-of-state person who just won. I'm like, I know that guy. We work together. I'm like Thor, in the Ragnarok movie, you know.
You know, it's funny because the craft brewers like to say, it's 99% asshole free or whatever, and I think for competition wise, whenever you go to like a GABF and you see these, brewers win, and there is still a little bit of competition there because they are competing for a market. And as much as everyone likes to like each other, their brands are still, there's some tension there. There's some stress there. With homebrewers, it's not. It's not there. Because it's like, what do I give a shit? You know what I mean? I like to see you win, and it literally, no sweat off my. I don't care. It doesn't matter if I just, it's fun.
Honestly, I feel better because I want to compete with good people who brew good stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted that accomplishment. If I just happen to win everything, So, I mean, honestly, there's people like in Mead. I got Matthew Mead this year. Last year was Matthew Williamson. And going back and forth who wins best of shows on things. It's great.
Right. Yeah. Or you're wandering around with Pavel or somebody and sipping ciders on club night. And then 2 nights later, he wins a bunch of awards. And you're like, yeah, I think I had that cider, man. Yeah.
So I blended B and C with a little bit of A. Bill, have you gone through and like blended all these too? Do you do that as well? Or are you kind of like, well, here it is. Here it's bottled. I don't really care anymore.
Well, the problem is I don't like opening too many bottles by myself.
Okay.
With a couple of homebrew club meetings where I've taken these and I've taken 2 or 3 of them and like, hey guys, yeast experiment, try it, So I like doing that stuff, trying to use it as educational for other people too.
I think you have to with 5 gallons each.
So this some is all to competitions and some go to clubs.
Right.
And this is all keg carbonated, right?
They're all keg carbonated, so yeah.
It's fairly cheap and very easy to make. If anyone out there is just listen, what is this homebrewing thing, and just listen to this randomly, make a cider. They're actually pretty easy to make. And
so, is there a reason that you do petillant versus sparkling, or?
Well, through the bottling process, I feel like I would have lost carbonation that would come back to petillant. I just never have been great at. For me, the idea of sparkling is champagne level. Now, could it be a higher level of petillant? Yes, I could probably do better at that. I think in this case here, sometimes I'm rushing it a little bit more than I should. Because I do like this. I mean, to me, what you said was right. I like carbonating to get my acidity rather than adding other kind of acids in there. But yeah, sparkling, I've just never have successfully done that. And the times I've successfully done it, it's been by mistake.
Oops, it's champagne like. Here we go.
Bill, one of the things you said earlier that I think was kind of worth touching on again was you got this juice from Aldi, because out east or out west we don't have a lot of Aldi just yet, but it's starting to come out here. Like in Fresno, there's getting to be some Aldis now, and it's like a German grocery chain. They've had it out east. Like my brother lives out in DC, and they've had it out there for forever. But it's starting to make its way out here. And if that's an easy way to get a bunch of different varietals of apple juice and just put some cider in, or put some yeast in. We had a guy in our club, 15 years ago, win best of show at a small comp with a jug of apple juice he got at the farmer's market, put some yeast in, waited for like 3 weeks, and then bottled it. Yeah. It's one of the simplest things to do. And if you have the ability to go to a grocery store that has like a bunch of different, organic apple juice that doesn't have the sulfites and stuff to stop fermentation of yeast, you can really play around with some great experiments and do some blending and stuff. And it's going to cost you a fraction of normal cider making or of brewing.
Yeah.
Right. Down here, you can get Trader Joe's juice, or you can go to Costco.
Oh, no. I use Costco juice and made ice cider with it.
Really? Costco juice?
Costco juice is not bad.
Yeah. I mean, a lot. And don't forget, a lot of these store-bought apple juice, those name brands, are the same companies that make Mott's or other things like that. They just brand it differently. Right. It's just cheaper. Yeah. So as you said, there's no chemicals in it. Do it. I'm in North Georgia, a little bit north of me. There are huge apple orchards and stuff, so I can get natural, the natural cider stuff. Funny thing is, anytime I've used like the more expensive like cider I bought from they never score well in competitions. The store-bought cheaper apple juice does far better. Now, note, I've made some that taste wonderful. I mean, and that's the thing about judging. I mean, everyone has different taste buds. People like these different things. One of my favorite ciders has never made over a 30.
So Bill, I'll separate that out a little bit. It's like if you're going to make English or French cider, that's where the things get tricky. So New World cider, you could get away with store-bought juice, but when you start getting into tannic and bitter apples, sharp, and all the funky fermentation issues, stuff that you do with English and French ciders. So that's kind of where things separate out. But I think for a New World cider, I think store-bought apple juice would be fine.
Yeah. And like with English ciders, it's a lot about some of the tannins and stuff you can do with it. The French one is one I'm trying to figure out myself because, again, part of the Master Homebrew program is trying new substyles. So for me to get one of my cool scores, I need to score real well in a French thing. So I'm starting to play around with, the malto, I'm going to say it wrong, the maltic acid or whatever you have to do for it. And
malolactic fermentation.
Thank you. Yeah. So I need to play with that kind of scientific stuff that scares me because I'm just a cave brewer.
That's right. I've got the blend here too. I just blended all four, and I like it kind of broadens out everything, and it just makes it interesting. But it's it kind of just smooths everything out, and it doesn't have, it has a little of the color of the A, and it doesn't have the odd fruitiness that I got in the D to me, but it just like smooths everything out and just kind of everything's kind of medium, sweetness medium, everything. The aftertaste lingers really long, and there's just so much different stuff going on in there. No off flavors. It's a smooth drinker.
It's wild.
The best of four worlds somehow.
The best of four worlds. That's right. Yeah, that's cool, Bill. Hey man, I really appreciate you sharing this with us. I know it wasn't cheap to send us all this stuff, and plus your time and everything. But it was fascinating. It was great to talk to you about it and to hear your process. I think we're all blown away that these were just store-bought, and the yeast you picked out, I think, are really great. I think they each did something very, very unique with the apple character, and you could really take a lot away from that.
Yeah,
I like it.
I saw if I had these at a craft beer bar, I would order one of these.
For sure, absolutely. I would not be upset with any of them. I mean, even D. I didn't really like D that much, but I would still drink it. Like, yeah, okay, it's great.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things. Like one of the homebrew clubs I brought it to, I gave them the Coteau de Blanc and the 05, and everyone liked the 05 better, and except for me, who I wanted the more acidity of the Coteau de Blanc kind of thing, So, but they were like, man, it's like almost caramelly, appley flavor they got out of it, kind of thing. Is what they were saying.
It had a lot of interesting flavors in it. I could see why someone was like, "Wow, that's a really flavorful cider." It's interesting.
So no tropical fruits were added to
basically it's apple juice. There's a little bit of white sugar that I've added to it to get the ABV up before I back sweeten it some. But beyond that.
Do you take the apple juice and add water, or is it just straight up apple juice? 5 gallons of apple juice.
It's 5 gallons of apple juice.
Damn.
Technically, I'll tell you guys a secret. It's 4 gallons of apple juice, a couple cups of white sugar, and back sweeten with 1 gallon of apple juice.
Okay. All right.
Wow. That's what that recipe is.
Wow.
And anyone can make that kind of cider here. I mean, and it metals too. I mean, and I just gave you one of my biggest secrets.
Do you treat
sugar?
Do you treat the back sweetened juice with anything? Sulfide or?
Well, don't forget, it's already been stabilized.
It's clean coming out of that bottle.
So it's clean out of that bottle. So you stabilize, which again already has some of the metabisulfite and potassium sorbates and all that stuff there in it. So yeah, you're not going to get anything from the clean bottles into that.
Okay. Interesting.
Cool.
Well,
very cool.
Do we have anything left for Bill, or is that it? Are we done with Bill?
I just think this was a lot of fun.
Wish him a lot of wins at future competitions. Obviously, you're doing something right.
That's right.
Make that master homebrewer thing.
Yeah. Bill, do you have anything else for the other guys or me? I mean, I don't know.
No, I think this was great. I would still like to get, as I said, Matthew Harold, and we love to talk a little bit more about the Master Homebrew program. I think the few times you've had us, we've just touched it and not really gone into the details. So it'd be great maybe to get another kind of shoot some stuff off to you and maybe have a bigger conversation on that.
Absolutely. We'll taste anything.
Cool. Yep.
All right. Well, I guess if that's it, we're going to get out of here, everybody. Thank you very much. Yes.
If somebody wants to send us
I'm
a
getting
cider,
there, Brian, every fucking show, every single show. If you want to be on the show, thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you would like your beer on this show, email Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com and he will get back to you and he'll get you on the show and he'll get you plugged in, scheduled on, and we will talk to you. We'll drink your beer or your cider or your kombucha or your hard tea. I don't know what the fuck people are doing.
Hard seltzer.
Meat.
Berry.
Yeah, whatever. We'll do anything.
I'm a meat judge now. I made meat judge.
That's right.
Good.
I've heard that somewhere before. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the men's room bathroom wall. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see you later.